Well, hey there, guys, and good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever and whenever you are. And welcome to the start of a new series playing a game that I got you guys to vote for. Welcome to Factorio. I have played a little bit of, well, I say a little bit. I've done the tutorial and I've tried doing a little bit of my own factory on the side, and it is nowhere near good. So we'll see how this goes, but without further ado, let's get straight into Factorio. Okay guys, I hope you are ready for this because we are literally just hopping straight in. So first thing I did after crashing on this lovely planet was get rid of all of the broken parts of my spaceship because I am just so strong that with my bare hands I can tear that apart. But either way, as you can see, there's a pretty big copper, iron and coal veins basically just where we spawned in. So the first thing I did is set up a small burner drill and furnace array so that the burner drill will mine the coal and put it straight into the furnace so I can start smelting up some iron. I haven't done it yet, but I do press the Alt key later because as I heard in some advice about this game once, if you don't do it, you will be worse at the game and people will make fun of you. And you know what? I don't want you guys to make fun of me for not using the Alt key, so I will use it. If you didn't know what it does, you'll see later, it basically just gives you more information about your different like buildings and such without you having to look at like inside the interface manually. But either way, as you can see, what I've just set up is a small sort of, I don't know, like a caterpillar mama bird chain of these burner drills. So they will mine coal, put it into the next one, which will mine coal, put it into the next one, and so on. And so it'll just be a loop of coal, and if I ever need coal, I can just take it out of one and it'll automatically refill itself. And so it's basically, it's not an infinite source of coal because of the fact that the vein will eventually run out, but it works as a start. As you can see, I've just quickly set up again a small furnace area so I can start smelting some iron, and I set up a burner drill setup with that. So I set up a burner drill setup. Yeah, I'm really smart. I set up another burner drill and a burner inserter so I can sort of somewhat automate it, because if you didn't know about Factorio coming into this, you will find out soon. It is a game about automation. I am not very good at automating stuff. I mean, as I once heard again someone say about this game, it's very similar to programming, and a good programmer will make modular systems so they can easily iterate upon. They'll probably optimize with a sort of key focus on efficiency. And again, like I said, here's the key part. I am not a good programmer, and I'm not good at automation. But anyway, as you can see, I unlocked a little bit ago the boiler and steam engine research, which I think you just get from crafting steel plates or something like that. But basically that will let me start using steam power to make electricity and start relying on some electrical components rather than coal-fired components. A lot of the early game is just setting up the basic systems in the starter base, because I mean, the point of the game, I guess, is kind of to automate your factory, but technically if you're following the story, it's to build a rocket so you can leave the planet. But the whole point of the starter base is not to build a rocket. It's to get you the stuff so you can build a proper base to build a rocket. But like I said, a lot of it is just sort of iterating early game upon basic designs you get. So what I'm going to do is let you guys watch me mess around with some factory stuff, and I will see you once I have a little bit more set up. So without further ado, let's do this. Hey guys, it's me again. As you can see, I was initially going to set up this little thing here a little bit further down the lake, and I'm gonna be real with you guys. I have no idea why I was going to do that. That would have been such a bad decision for me. But either way, what I am setting up, if you cannot tell, is a boiler array. Now, I don't know how much you guys are fans of maths, but it must be a decent amount if you're watching a Factorio video. And if you like maths or not, we're about to delve into ratios. You're about to hear more about them than a chronically online bird app user. I guess it's a letter app user now. I don't know. Either way, basically there are some ratios in this game where we can set up systems to work optimally to that ratio. The one in particular that we will be using now is a 1 to 20 to 40 ratio. When I say we're using it now, I don't fully set it up yet. We'll probably get around to that next episode, just because I haven't had a need to fully set up yet, and I didn't really have the iron supply at this point to do that. But if you're wondering exactly what we are setting up a, well, as I said, a boiler array, and the 1 to 20 to 40 basically means one offshore pump is enough to supply, creates enough water to supply 20 boilers. Each boiler creates enough steam to supply 2 steam engines, which means 20 boilers can supply 40 steam engines, which means one offshore pump can supply 40 steam engines, which basically means we can get a lot of electricity out of it. And if you're wondering why it was really stupid to put it where I was going to put it, basically that lake would have gotten in the way of building my stuff, and obviously I could just do the research and then get the landfill later on to fill it in, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I am too lazy to do that as of current, and I would not be able to set up a nice efficient in ratio power generating thing without it. But as you can see, we've got some basic power and electricity coming in, and we're using that to power this little rave dome here called a science lab. Fitting science packs into it means I can create research, and with that we can do a lot of stuff. First thing I researched was basically automation, which meant that I could like create these buildings that would craft stuff for me, so I don't have to do it by hand, because let's be honest, doing it by hand sucks. No one wants to do that, me included. But yeah, you'll see me do a bunch of research, and once I have a bunch of it set up, I do start sort of expanding my ore arrays. So I'll let myself do all of that, and just like last time, I'll catch up with you in a bit. Let's do this. So guys, as you can see, once the electric mining drill research was complete, I started basically immediately making some electric mining drills and then coming over to the copper vein and start placing them down. And the reason I did this is because I wanted to make a somewhat automated mining rig for all of the ore sections, just because the burner drills were using up coal, and since I have access to electricity now, I figured I might as well make use of that. So as you can see, I get the little electrical poles leading over, and essentially what each of these mining rigs are is just a series of these electric mining drills leading into conveyor belts that all lead onto one main belt. With the copper one and the iron one, as you'll see later, I do actually have it go into a small furnace array. I believe the furnace array for the iron one is slightly bigger than that for the copper one, but that's just because the iron vein was slightly bigger than the copper vein in this case, and also I find I use the iron plates a lot more than I do the copper ones in this game, especially when it comes to like belt production. Either way, as you can see, a lot of basically how it's set up is that you just have the drills back to back, and then all of it gets put onto conveyor belts. There's probably a more efficient way of doing it, but there isn't one that I personally have tried out using. So this is essentially just how it's going to happen. As you can see, this is how I set up the sort of furnace arrays. I believe there's 10 furnaces in this particular one, and essentially how the array works is that there's a conveyor belt going around the outside which carries obviously the copper ore, and also here I currently have it set up with an input chest, but I think I set up when I make the coal array just automatically have it set up. Also has coal going around along the same belt, because you can carry 2 items on the same belt, one on each side, and that way the inserters can grab both the coal and the copper as needed to input it into the furnaces, and then the completely smelted copper plates are inputted out. Again, currently I just have them going into this one chest, but I believe, actually I might not have that set up in this episode. I believe I might set it up in the next episode to have it go off and then automatically filter into any machines and use splitters and belt balancers, which I can get into later, to have copper go off all where it's needed. I'm not planning on using what's known as a main bus design in this specific base, again because of the fact it's the starter base, but in later bases I will probably employ something called a main bus design, where essentially the main ingredients that you need, so copper plates, iron plates, circuits, so on and so forth, all travel down the middle of your base in this massive main bus, and you can just split them off whenever you need them and have them go onto several modules. There's other designs for factories, like City Block is another one I've seen, but again, this is all stuff I'm going to get into later. What I'm doing now is basically just expanding the arrays. I believe I'm going to start working on both the copper and the iron arrays at some point. The research I'm currently doing is the logistics research, which lets you get some nice different versions of the belts. So you can get the splitters, which splits up to 2 input belts into up to 2 output belts. So it's nice for like balancers, and then underground belts which can help transport stuff. Either way, as you can see, I've started work on the copper array here, so I'm going to let you see me do that, and I'll get back to you once, I believe after this, I start sort of rerouting some stuff around. So I'll catch up with you when we get there. So guys, as you can see, I ended up making quite a bit of progress on the coal, not copper, sort of mining array down here. And I did this thing with the belts where instead of just having the belt go straight when it all sort of joined up together, having it curve around and come back in, which would line the coal up on one side as well as the other, sort of stops the belt clogging up and makes it a bit more efficient. What I was going to do is, here as you can see, I was going to work on a thing called a 1, 2, 3 belt balancer, which would basically balance this one conveyor belt of coal into 3 conveyor belts, because I at this point needed the coal in 3 different places. Unfortunately, that was not going to work, I soon realized, because I didn't have the stuff needed to make a 1, 2, 3 balancer, because it requires the underground conveyor belts, and they work kind of weirdly sometimes, so you need the 2 different types of it, and I didn't have the second type unlocked yet because I hadn't done the research for the faster conveyor belts and the faster underground belts and the faster splitters and so on and so forth. I don't even think I had the science packs unlocked yet to do the research on it. So what I did was just sort of do this just with 2 splitters, a basic, it's not a balancer, it just splits the belt into 3. It's not perfectly balanced, but you know, it doesn't technically need to be at this point. I would just prefer if it was. But either way, as you can see, I added the last, for now, couple of electric mining drills to the coal array and started working on the iron one. And next thing I wanted to quickly work on was, obviously I got a couple of drills set up, but to set up the 4 array I would need a lot of, well, iron, and so I thought I'd start pretty early working on the furnace array to go with this one. As I said, I believe this one's slightly bigger than the copper one. I think this is 20 furnaces rather than 10, and I use one of the splitters actually to make it work with having the 2 modules next to each other. Instead of having 2 straight modules, I put a splitter in at the top to split the iron and coal down the middle of 2 of the modules and have 10 furnaces accessing the line rather than just 1. Makes it, I believe, slightly less efficient, but you know, it works for now. Again, Starbase isn't meant to be the most efficient. It's not meant to build a rocket to get me to space. It's meant to get me off my feet. This is what I mean, as you can see, by the whole idea of splitting it down the middle, and then the other one will continue and have a second module next to it. But yeah, pretty much at this point I'm just working on expanding the arrays, and I believe that's pretty much what I do until the end of the episode. So I'm gonna, again, dip and let myself work on these arrays, and I will catch up with you guys if any new advancements are made. So I'll see you in a bit. Let's do this. So as you can see, I've expanded the iron array quite a bit and gotten a pretty substantial amount of iron in there. What I'm doing here is setting up with these underground belt systems, getting the coal, as I said earlier, automatically transferred over from the coal array up to the smelting area for the copper, and also again having to refuel all of my boilers because they run out of fuel pretty quickly. I can't remember if I do it at some point in this episode, but if I don't, I will be doing it eventually. I will be getting the reason I had a third offshoot from the coal was so I could automatically reroute some of it up to the up to those boilers, so they would automatically refuel rather than me having to manually do it. Now, you might be wondering why throughout this episode I keep opening up the map, pressing a small button that looks kind of like a red flame, and looking at a bunch of red pixels on the map. The reason is because that is how far spread the pollution we have made has gotten so far, and I'm looking to see if it's gotten to the local biter nests yet. Now, if you haven't played Factorio or you haven't watched any videos about it and you don't know what a biter is, you're going to be in for a treat when they come over to our factory, because I'm not going to spoil it yet for you. Just know that when the pollution does get over there, they are not going to like it. But either way, as you can see, what I'm doing is with my I had the clip earlier of my spaghetti code. Here's how it translates over into Factorio with my spaghetti belts. I like using, I don't know if it's more resource efficient, it probably isn't to be honest, but I like using the underground belts to transport the items around because it offers more flexibility in terms of being able to put stuff into those areas later, as well as it means I don't have to worry about accidentally stepping on the conveyor belt and being literally pushed around my factory as I'm just walking around. But this is what I mentioned earlier. I set up this area by the boilers to the coal from the array, part of it gets transported up here, and then I set up some inserters, I believe, some fast inserters here, which are faster than the normal ones, to automatically deposit coal into those boilers. The boilers power boil water to make steam, which goes into steam engines, which produce electricity, which then goes into these the electricity network, which powers the inserters, which puts more coal into the boilers, and then it makes a cycle, and I don't have to worry about it for now. Key part on the for now. The coal will run out, and this is obviously only a temporary solution, but a lot of solutions at the starter base are temporary. Like I said many times in this episode, it is a starter base. It's going to be bad, but that's fine. Either way, we're getting to the point now where I'm going to be wrapping up soon, so I'm going to complete just my final tasks for the episode, and I will see you in a second. So guys, unfortunately looking at the time, that is actually where I'm going to have to wrap it up for today, but we have managed to get ourselves a pretty nice starter base in my opinion. Got nice little big coal, iron and copper veins right at spawn, as well as this giant lake. I'm a bit concerned about these guys, especially with the pollution cloud very quickly reaching over to them, but either way, without further ado, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, share my channel with your friends to help me grow, and join back next time to see more Factorio content. But either way, without further ado, I will see you later. Bye bye.